What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew Cab Dart YouTube channel. Today we're back on our 5.7 Hemi swap 93 Dodge Ram. In the last video, we tore down my 5.7 Hemi that I got off Facebook Marketplace, and we discovered some not so good information. Before we tore down this 5.7 Hemi here, it did have a tick. It was running in a vehicle when I bought the vehicle, and it had a tick to it. I thought for sure it was just a classic Hemi tick. It was going to be a collapsed lifter beating on a camshaft. We were going to get in here. We're going to find a collapsed lifter. We're going to find a beat camshaft. And after we got the valve covers off of it, we did notice that the rocker on cylinder number 7 was loose, which, led me to believe it was a collapsed lifter. But after pulling the cylinder head off, we found that the valve seat had dropped. As you can see here, you can see the valve seat has dropped down out of the cylinder head, and it did cause the valve to kiss the piston slightly. Right here, you can see the indent on the piston where the valve touched it, but I don't think it really caused any damage other than that little indent mark there. Other than that minor setback, that's really all we found wrong with this 5.7 Hemi here. It actually looked really, really clean everywhere in the bottom end. All the bearings didn't have any slack in them. It wasn't full of sludge whatsoever. It looked to be a pretty well taken care of motor until that issue happened. With that being said, I'm going to say this short block is good to go, and we're going to be reassembling it in today's video. Now, I already have installed my comp cams camshaft in this 5.7 here. I had some issues with the video, and so I'll just throw up a clip of that, and I'll throw up a picture of the cam card. I have no idea how this cam is going to perform in the 5.7. With that being said, I do have a short list of things I need to get done to this thing to have the short block reassembled. I have to lock out the variable valve timing gear, got to throw the new timing set on it. I have a Hellcat oil pump for it. We're going to be slapping some new lifters in. I have to get my rear sump truck oil pan stuck on it. So we've got a little bit of work to do, so let's jump right into it. Since the camshaft's installed, the next thing I need to do is lock out my variable valve timing gear. I'm going to be using the Cam Motion VVT lockout. There's the part number for anybody interested. And I got to give a shout out to my buddy Dalton for letting me use his Comp Cam's Hemi VVT lockout tool. So I need to get this thing tore apart and get the lockout slapped in it, and we'll be ready to install it on the engine. So we got our VVT gear locked out. We have our new Cloy's timing set installed with our new guides, chain, tensioner, and crank sprocket, all that good stuff. For anyone curious, I use the Cloy's 9-0750S kit for this thing. Now that we have our timing set installed, next up we're going to be installing our Hellcat oil pump, and then we can flip it over and install our new oil pan. So you may be asking yourself, Justin, why are you putting a Hellcat oil pump on a 5.7 Hemi? And well, the answer is I purchased my MDS Delete kit off of Facebook Marketplace for less than half of what it retailed for, and it just so happened that it included a Hellcat oil pump. It is what it is. Now, was there anything wrong with my previous oil pump? Probably not, being as we didn't have a cam and lifter failure. However, I had anticipated that the cam and lifters had already failed and there was metal all throughout the engine. And I did not want to run an oil pump that had potentially had metal sent through it. So a new oil pump was on the list anyway. Just so you folks know, a oil pump on a 5.7 Hemi torques to 21 foot-pounds. So you know how I said the oil pan was next? Well, I just got to thinking about it, and part of what the oil pan seals on is the timing cover. So I got my timing cover. I cleaned it up the other day. I got me a new front seal knocked down. I got a new gasket back here, and I got both my mating surfaces cleaned up. So we'll get this timing cover installed and try to determine where all the bolts are. So I have 2 bags of bolts. Both are very similar. And one's definitely timing cover. I don't know what the other bag of bolts is for yet. So that'll be fun. But for now, we'll just we'll get the timing cover installed. So now that we have the timing cover installed, we're ready to move on to putting the oil pan on this thing. Now the oil pan that come on this engine out of the Jeep is a front sump, and it's not going to work for that 93 Dodge. I actually found the best conversion oil pan kit come from the dealership. I'll throw a part number up on the screen in case any of you are interested in a rear sump oil pan kit for your own Hemi. Well, folks, it's been a little time since that last installment of the video you saw where I was torquing the oil pan on. And I'm not going to lie to you. That day, I got sick. I was sick for a few days the next week. Me being sick for a few days put us really behind in work, so we got really busy, and I haven't had just a ton of time to do anything. I have been slacking. My fault. But since then, I have done a few things to the engine. Not a whole lot, just a few. We painted it fresh Hemi orange here. We got the water pump mounted. Other than that, to the engine, that's about all we've done. And we have remedied our head situation. Let me grab one of these guys. So as you guys know, our Eagle 5.7 Hemi heads dropped a valve seat, which I've heard is fairly uncommon for Eagle heads, but nonetheless, ours did it. And I could have had them repaired, but it would have been pretty expensive. So what I did was I took the cost-effective route and just bought another marketplace Hemi. Unfortunately, it was sold to me as a running motor, that had like really thick flaky rust in the cylinders. Didn't figure that out till I got home. But I was able to salvage the heads off of it, and this is one of them. Jesse and I went through, well, mostly Jesse. He went through, he ground the valves, we checked them for warpage. They're perfect, they were fine. We did add my good Mopar Performance springs on here. I'll put the little part number up. Really, really cheap, good spring for you Hemi guys. Are good for like, I think 615 thousandths or 600, oh, I'm sorry. They're good for 625 thousandths lift, and you can get all 16 of them for like $85. It's actually cheaper to buy them individually. They're like $4 a spring or something like that. But anyway, we've gone through, we've ground the valves, lapped them in, we've got new valve seals, we have our new springs on, surface has been cleaned up, so we're ready to install our lifters, get the heads on, and ideally make this thing a long block today. Before we can put the heads on, I've got to stick my new lifters and lifter trays in, and I do have some non-MDS lifters that I got from my Marketplace MDS Delete kit. I have no idea what brand they are. I think they're like AMS Racing or something like that. Not 100%. We're going to get our lifters in there, and then we'll be ready to put our heads on, so let's get that taken care of. So this step may be like 1,000% unnecessary here, but being an MLS head gasket and I didn't get the block decked, which I did check it for warpage and it's not warped. We're good on that department. But just to seal up any imperfections that we may have going on, so let's just give her a little copper coat. I don't think it can hurt anything. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if it can. And if I'm really messing this up or something. Well, we got our freshly copper coated gasket in place. Let's get this head stuck in place. There she is, brother. Turn 1 through 10, 90 degrees. Also, fairly fun to do when you don't have an angle finding torque wrench. So like I said a minute ago, I don't have a angle finding torque wrench. So what I like to do is make little paint marks on all my bolts. So that way I know, I can kind of gauge it and look pretty easy to tell like 90 and 180 degrees. So it's gonna work, should work fine. So let me get these torqued and yielded. Good. So like I was saying before, the marks make it fairly easy to tell how far you've gone and what's going on. I'm sure it'll be just fine. I mean, worst case scenario, I just do it all over again, you know. I'm sure it'll be fine though. So let me get this other side knocked out. Well, we have both cylinder heads installed and torqued down, and I've even went ahead and installed my push rod. So now I got to get this last rocker shaft down here and get it torqued in place, and we'll be in high cotton. It can be slightly tricky getting everything to line up going together with these things, but they made it kind of easy on us. Really not too bad. Okay, so I had some camera issues, but I swear I torqued them to spec. They're 16 foot-pounds. I swear I torqued them to spec. I didn't just impact them down. But either way, now we have our valve train complete. Now we can stick our valve covers on, and we've got a long block. The time has come. I've got some fresh gaskets on my valve covers, and we're ready to drop them in place. We've got everything on under there. I sure hope it's all torqued to spec, and I hope it lasts. Hope it runs good. Hope it sounds good. This very well could be close to 500 horsepower, which is pretty sweet. So the cam that I put in it is a Comp 270 cam. Apparently that's the name of it. And guys say it runs really, really good in these 5.7s actually. So hey, we're going to give her a shot. I just hope it sounds good. Hope it's got a little chop to it. But from what I've seen, they say, you know, 480, 500 horsepower, somewhere around there. I don't know. All I know is that it's in there. That's what we're using. Let's see. We got an ugly bolt on this one, so we're going to put it towards the back. You know, got to be. This is like almost a SEMA build. Really haven't got any zip ties to flush cut to really call it. Oh, dang it. Okay. We got to put the ugly bolt towards the back for sure. Let's put it on the top. See, we got an ugly bolt here. Give her a little switcheroo. Bam. There we go. Okay. You got me. Maybe it's not a SEMA build, but I do want it to shine. Dang it. I do want it to shine a little bit. Classy. Even though it's going in a piece of junk Dodge truck. We'll try to spiff it up too. Well, that's going to do it. We have a good long block here. Everything is on, torqued to spec. I mean, we're not far from putting it in the truck at this point. Now, we are missing something. You know, we are missing something that goes up here. So I got something special. We have to mock it up. We have to do a little mock-up. So I'll be right back. Hold on. I don't have the throttle body really bolted on, but would you look at that? So Aces also has this fabricated sheet metal Gen 3 Hemi intake we're going to be running. I'm going to give her a shot. I'm going to try it out. That looks phenomenal. Looks really good. So I'm not going to lie to you. I was actually on the fence about painting the heads orange or painting them back this like clean aluminum look. And you know, a lot of times, like say a Scat Pack engine, the block is orange, but you can't really see any of that color because like the timing cover is aluminum and the water pump, the heads are all aluminum. Once it's in the car, you don't see any of it. And I wanted a little color, so I at least painted the timing cover orange, just like an old school engine, you know. And I think I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. It looks really good. Do you think that I should have painted the heads orange? Let me know. Let me know in the comment. I'm really happy with that. We got one more thing to mock up, and then we're done for now. Ooh, would you look at that. Told you we had one more thing to mock up, and that just looks like it makes horsepower. I mean, just sitting still, that thing makes horsepower. That's fast. That's fast looking. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for now. We still have to bolt up our boost line motor mounts. We've got a couple things to tidy up here and there, like some idler pulleys, tensioners, and whatnot. But it's all little minute stuff. I'll get that taken care of. And then ideally, the next thing we'll be doing is seeing if we can get this thing dropped in that 93 Dodge, bolted up to that NV 4500. And we're just one step closer to hearing this thing run. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate all the likes, comments, and shares, and subscribes. I appreciate it a ton. I have, at this very moment, I think we're at like 1,830 subscribers, somewhere around there. I'm not sure. The numbers have just been steadily growing. I really appreciate everybody's support. And, you know, for only doing this a year, so far, I'm really tickled with the progress we've made. So I really appreciate all you guys watching. Hope you'll stick around for the rest of this build. I'm very, very sorry for not having the video out sooner. I'll try to get back on it. But I appreciate everybody. We'll see you next time.